Alright, dude, so now we're doing the gauge paw time. Finally, almost done with the Miata, just little steps. The last time we drilled the hole to the oil pan, finally got that done. So on this side of the engine, it's basically all we gotta do is just clean up everything. Like how we're gonna put this wire over here, tuck it in, make it look pretty. All these wires too, put them in together, make them look pretty. Probably with zip ties. I do have a couple of wires I do not have clipped on anymore since we took off the stock one for the air filter, so I gotta figure out how we're gonna do this. Probably just tuck them somewhere nice and pretty. And this one's out too, like you can see. Coolant, oil, I need that, so that'll be later on. I'm just trying to clean up the engine bay. We're gonna tighten up everything, make sure everything's tight again. I do need a new thermostat, so I need to buy a new one of this one. That comes later. So those small little things here, the engine's practically almost done. We're jumping into the gauge pod, which is the gauge in here. So I'm gonna show you guys how we did the gauge, how we're gonna do the gauge technically. So inside the Miata, obviously, we took off the pillar that goes right here. We took that off. It just clips on, so don't be scared, take it off. And also right here, go from the convertible top, which is those bolts right there. We have them in there, so we just took those off right there. Now for the end of the car, we are gonna hit the fuses. So we have the fuses right there. And then to get this, if you guys can see it, more or less, if you follow this black hose, I'm trying to get the camera in the right place. Right there, it goes in there with all those wires. We did that with the zip tie, like I said in the last video. So we just got a zip tie, we tied it up with the tape to shove it in there. And for the engine bay, so you guys can see how we put it in. We made a little hole. We made a little hole right there, and we just shoved it in there to get to the inside. Now, the reason why we gotta do that, my dudes, is because it's asking for the, I think it's called the vacuum line, where it wants pressure for it. Gauge. So it needs that pressure right here, my dudes. This is gonna go right there. And then the wire obviously is coming out, but this needs to be right there so it can tell us and move the needle how much pressure is going inside the vehicle. The constructions on this bad boy, on this gauge that I got, like I said, description is always in the bottom, my dudes. The instructions come out really nice. It tells you how to do it, so it's awesome, and where to cut it. So you see that turbo, and you see that line right there? That's the same one right here. This one right here, my dudes. So we're gonna cut it right here, probably in the middle, and this is gonna be a little T, and this is gonna be right here. That's gonna tell us the pressure of the turbo. That's exactly how it tells us to do it. And then this is a really good explanation. We connect the wires to make things easier. We bought this, like always, at Amazon below. This will be a 2-in-1 fuses, so it's gonna be awesome. And then it even gives you fuses. So technically, these fuses are gonna connect into one and give us a double outlet. Just like, I don't have an example, but yeah. So we're gonna put one fuse connection and put 2 fuses on top of it. You guys can see that here in a second. And then these wires obviously are gonna connect to this. So this one should be easy setup. Now, I'm just explaining everything before we get into it. This one right here is the pillar that goes on the top of the car. We have to drill a little hole right there just to get the wires to slip in. And then this is the gauge holder pod, description down below, or just put the on single gauge. It'll be awesome like that. This should be all taken care of easily. And that's gonna be, I'm gonna set it down to the closest one right here, probably the lowest one, and that'll be it. So you guys can see what we bought this for. So it has 2 fuses can go on top of each other and connects to one. This is the whole point we got this, so it can be easier for us than to just wire directly on top of the fuses and just solder it. No, we're not gonna do that. This saves us more time and it'll be more cleaner. And it just connects to right here where we want to the wire, like so, which is way easier just to like click on. So on the instructions explains, like I said, this is a good instructions. This one is not like the turbo, it had no instructions at all. So to sum it up, my dudes, it tells you the writing schematics. Yellow has to be constant source, red has to be the ignition switch, orange has to be a headlight switch source, and black is just the engine to ground. So I have the trunk open because we gotta plug back the battery back on, because remember we took it off when we were doing the engine bay for safety. So I'm gonna jump on it and start connecting this, but I'm waiting for my pops because he has the tester and I need to figure out which one has constant source. So I'm waiting for my pops to show up, so I'm stuck right here waiting. See right there, my dad's under there looking for constant power first. We have the tester right there. It should turn red once it finds power. So we have the battery back onto it, and we're looking for the first wire, which it says in the instruction manual it should be constant power. So under there's my fuel box. Most cars have a fuel box there, or other cars have their fuel box on inside the hood. But for some reason, the Miata's is down there. And if you guys can see that, we tying up the oil, zip tie, make it look prettier. We got everything good. I got oil, I got coolant now. We came back from AutoZone. I swear we spent more time going back and forth to like Home Depot, Lowe's, AutoZone than we do spending time fixing the car. So that's kind of like annoying. Did you find any power? No? My dad's trying to figure out that. We're going to jump on. We're going to do the oil stuff like that. This is the old oil. You're going to call it plug-in, bolt. See? Old one. The new one that I ordered at Amazon, we're going to figure out this actually does work. Since we have metal shavings in the oil pan since we did the hole, we're not too sure. This actually is magnetic. If you guys can see. Awesome. Hopefully it does fit. So we're going to put it on. They gave us some copper right here. So I'll probably just grab one. Hopefully it does fit. It does look kind of tiny, but we'll find out. We're going to go into the car and we're going to make it fit, my dudes. So I did the coolant. Coolant's in there. Did the oil. Oil's in there. New oil filter. That's the old one. We're just waiting for it to start. The thermostat. We went to go buy a new one. Also with the gasket. That's back in there. Everything should be legit. We had to cut this one a little bit because it was too long. No biggie. Everything's tied up nice and sealed. We did the vacuum line right here, my dudes. We might have to cut it because it does look kind of droopy, but I'm just waiting just in case my dad needs more of the... My dad needs more. He can pull more, but right now I just have it zip tied. This is how it's going to be. Clamp on. Straight from instructions like it says. Did it. Clamp it. Vacuum line. Boop. Dopped it. We're down here with all the gauge pod. And I'll show you guys how we did all these sensors, because these sensors were a mess. We don't know if it was this that was not working, but I don't know. We tried putting power into it. There was no power to it. When we plugged it in, it was just a disaster. So we kind of like jumped around, and I told my dad, just set it up like that. We tried my best while I was changing the oil, and I told him, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I'll explain to you guys how we did it. And this car is almost done. All right, my dude. I took a picture of the fuse box down there to my phone so we can understand what's going on. So let me just set this down. I'll show you guys what we're going to connect to what in my opinion. So zoom in here. We're going to use the room, which is that 15 one. That's going to be my constant, which is going to be yellow. And then we're going to use the turn, which is the ignition, what it says on the directions. That's going to be the red one. And then it says for a headlight, which is orange, we're going to choose one of these. And then the last one is a black one, which is the ground. That's how we're going to do it. So it's going to be room, the constant, turn for the ignition. So it's going to be yellow, red, and then orange is going to be these headlights. And then black is just, I'm going to find ground in there. That's how we're going to do it. So when we were doing it, we realized that this, when we tried clamping it down, the wire just pops out. So what we decided to do is that we're going to cut it so we can have it naked like this. And we're just going to splice them together and then put a good old electrical tape around it. So the way these work is that they gave us little fuses. But there are 15, not 15 of these, but like that, the amps it can hold is 15, see, or the voltage. I don't explain that. The original one we're gonna take out of the car is gonna go to the first slot. These bad boys go in the back slot because there's two of them, and that plugs in. That's how it does it. So that's a better picture. First slot, the closest one to the fuse sensor, the metal, is the original one inside the Miata, and then these ones that they gave us goes in the back. That's how we're gonna wire it up. Oop, I just dropped it. That's how we're gonna wire it up, my dudes. Have you made sure which one has power on constant from this machine? It lights up once it detects. So that's all good. So that's how we're gonna do it. All in there. It's a tight space, my dudes, but we gotta do it. Cause we tried unscrewing it to bring it out, but you can't because the wire's too short. That's how far we're gonna get. All right, let's wire up this bad boy. We got the gauge right here. This is where we're gonna mount it, more or less. We just have to understand where we want it. We got the wires back here tucked in all the way down. Here we did like a little wiring, all connected like it says. There's the orange. It's hard to focus when my camera's not focusing. See, there's the yellow behind it. There's the red. There's the orange and the black. We just left it right there on the hook, just for now. See if it works. We'll connect the battery. We're gonna see how it looks. Not really connected, but just like, just put it on the negative. Negative's on. You guys can see that. On says touching. And we get to start it up and see what's going on. All right, cross our fingers, my dudes. Let's see if we did the wiring correct. Everything should be all right. This thing's not turning on. Oh, there it goes. Oh, it's purple. That's fire. All right, so it dims. You see? Yeah, so that's what it's supposed to do. So when you have the lights on, it's supposed to dim down. Cause that, oh my God, radio's working. Turn signal's working. My highs are working. You gotta make sure everything works, my dudes. What? That's awesome. Okay, you gotta make sure AC's working. Yep. Cause you don't trust these fuses. Oh, that's nice. I actually like that color. Wow. Damn. All right, so that's gonna be on all the time. All right, let's try it again, my dudes. Put the key in. Oh, that's beautiful. We're almost ready. Almost ready. Whew, so excited, almost ready. All right, my dudes. All right, dudes. Hopefully the next vlog will be the startup, or maybe this vlog. I'll just put a little preview of starting it up. Oh my God. All right, my dudes. Let me unplug the battery. Just pop this negative out. Make sure they're not touching with the positive, just like so. You guys don't want to have that, so I gotta clean that, but I'll clean that here in a bit. All right, let me just clean it all up in here. If you guys are interested, I got this in AutoZone. This is gonna replace right here. Hopefully, I've seen a couple of cars, they run it, so they just block this. Instead of putting duct tape or like a hose, we'll just put this bad boy right here to make it look pretty cool. So I got this in AutoZone, if you guys are wondering. Hold on. Oh man, I don't know if the battery will die, bro. Sure. Alright. So we did a couple of tries and it looked like it doesn't want to start up. So I'll be back to you guys when we figure out what's going on.